After months of being chased by a charity to return a $20,000 speaking fee, Liberal leader Justin Trudeau does an about-face, but only after being placed under public scrutiny. Now he promises to return the money, but we ask, is it too late? New Brunswick Conservative MP Rob Moore, as you know, folks, is an outspoken critic of Trudeau's actions with respect to this debacle, and he joins us live now from Ottawa. Good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon.
What do you make of this latest about-face by Justin Trudeau? He seems to be the gift that keeps on giving.
Well, it seems to be too little, too late. You have to remember that this charity requested that Mr. Trudeau return his speaking fee months ago. And it's only now, under the light of public scrutiny, that he's saying, well, if he has to, he might pay back his speaking fee. The bottom line on this is a group that raises money for seniors. They put on an event with Justin Trudeau as the speaker, and basically he left town with all the money. His speaking fee was $20,000. The loss to the group was $21,000 approximately. So a complete disaster of a fundraiser, and it's a shame that Mr. Trudeau would even think to take that money from a charity when all of us as MPs work on behalf of charities in our ridings and throughout the country.
You know, from the beginning, when Mr. Trudeau announced his intentions to run for Liberal leadership, or even just becoming, becoming a member of Parliament in Quebec, a lot of folks accused him of being a lightweight. But the question I have, and maybe it's not a fair one for you, maybe it's one for Mr. Trudeau if he wants to come on this program, but it's who is advising this guy? Because he keeps proving time and time again that he is a lightweight. The optics of the situation are just absolutely horrible, are they not?
Yeah, the optics are terrible. I mean, I think of myself, I think of my colleagues. I know Conservative members of Parliament, for example, with fundraising hockey games, have raised tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars for charities throughout the country, never asking anything in return. I mentioned yesterday you might get a ceremonial puck or a coffee mug, but you certainly wouldn't get a $20,000 check for the work that we do. We do that work because it's the right thing to do. We're paid to be members of Parliament, and Mr. Trudeau seems to think of his job as a member of Parliament as a part-time job, supplementing his speaking gigs. And to go into St. John, New Brunswick, to speak to a charity, and then to leave with all the donations in his back pocket, I think it shows a terrible lack of judgment.
Well, a lot of folks would agree with you and say that not only is it terrible on that front, but this charity apparently lost money at that event, which is why they wanted him to return the 20 grand. That's just rubbing salt in the wound at this point.
It is. I mean, the events seem to be designed to maximize the benefit to Justin Trudeau, and with very little, if any, benefit to the charities. I mean, in this particular case, with the Grace Foundation, the event cost them $21,000. So they're terribly upset by this. And then when they saw their name in the media, they decided, well, let's ask Justin Trudeau. They wrote him a letter. They asked him, would you please consider returning your speaking fee? And they were flatly denied that, and it's only with a bit of public pressure that Mr. Trudeau seems to be considering his options in this regard. I'm saying the right thing to do would have been not to take the fee from a charity in the first place. Yeah.
All right, let me ask you this question. Given all the foibles that he's put himself in, all the sticky situations, it seems that he's still rather popular with Canadians across the board, especially his favorite area of interest, Twitter. What do you make of that? Is there a disconnect here?
Well, he's told us all last night that he's a very good speaker. I'm glad that he thinks so, but the people in St. John didn't seem to think so. There was very few tickets sold for this event, and he didn't have the drawing power he had hoped for. And what that resulted in is him bagging all the money. And I think any one of us, if you saw a charity in that situation, would say, well, look, I'll cut my fee in half, or I'll return my fee. But in this case, he turned his back on them. And even when they raised it, even when they wrote him a letter, said, would you please consider returning your fee? We need the money. We're trying to raise money for seniors home, and this has left us in a really tough spot. It was a disaster. That's the language the charity used.
Yeah, and it's been going on for quite some time. I think they were desperate desperate to the point where they had to take it to the public airspace, right?
Well, that's right.
Yeah.
I mean, when they were denied by Mr. Trudeau, he wasn't going to consider giving the money back. And now they've said, look, can anyone help us? So I'm certainly pleased to bring that forward, and I'm calling on him to repay his fee.
Yeah, well, you know, your neck of the woods holds a special place in my heart. I spent some time there, specifically in Fredericton. I will say, folks of St. John, tough crowd.
Yeah, and they're good people there, and they volunteer, they help out, they know what community's all about.
Absolutely. All right, Mr. Moore, thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
That is New Brunswick Conservative MP Rob Moore joining us from Ottawa.